Hi, in our previous Node.js interview questions, we have checked what is Node.js and why to use Node.js. We have checked in details what is event loop and why we should use TypeScript. We have also checked one of the popular questions like callback, promises, error first callback, and why we should use promises instead of callback to avoid callback hell. And also we have seen what is async await. We have also checked module.export and what made programmers or developer use module.export. We have also covered what is ESLint and JSLint and few other topics like Mocha, Chai, Sinan and other test libraries like Karma, Jasmine and Istanbul for test coverage. I will put the link in the description for previous interview questions and answers. So before going to the interview questions, I had a small request to you. Do you want me to make more interview questions on Node.js, Java? If yes, then please let me know by clicking this eye icon. And at the end of this video, there will be a challenge where I will put 2 questions and you can answer me in the comment section. So let's focus into today's interview. What is closure? So if we want to define closure, it is basically the innermost function of any other function which has access to all the functions and all the variables which its parents or the outer function has. So since we know that JavaScript is a functional programming, which means that we can either return a function from another function or we can pass a function in the parameter value of another function. Let's check with this example. So I have created a file app.ts. Here what I'll do is like I will create a function, outer function or outer scope, and inside that I will define a variable where message equals to hello world, and inside that I will define another function inner scope and return inner scope. And in this function we will just print console.log message, and here we will call outer scope function. Okay, so once we run it using node app.js, you can see hello world is printed. So let me put a debugger here so that you can understand properly what is happening behind the scene, and run the debugger. Debugger is being hit. So if you go to closures here, we can see that it has message hello world. So what happened is like this outer scope, it returned inner scope, means it has only this part here, but we are able to access what is present outside the scope of inner scope. This is what closure is. But there is a catch. If you are not using anything inside inner scope, like if you are not using that message, then you will not be able to, or you will not be getting the closure message. Suppose we define another variable channel CodeSpace and run the debugger again. And if we check the closure, we can see that the channel is not displayed. Even if we console it out, we can see the channel value is not there, though the debugger has already printed CodeSpace. So closure is a powerful tool used in JavaScript or Node.js which allows inner function to have access to all other functions or variables that the outer function has. What is process.nextTick? Process.nextTick is used to schedule a callback function to be executed in the next iteration of event loop. So let's check with an example. And it takes an argument or a function which is a callback, and let me print console.log executed in next iteration. And console.log executed in this iteration. Let me run it. So we can see that this has been executed first, and then after that line number 2 is being executed. So we use process.nextTick to inform or to request Node.js or JavaScript engine to run a function asynchronously, but as soon as possible and not to queue it. So in short, it runs at the beginning of the next iteration. So it will be put at the beginning of the queue. Suppose this is a queue, so it will be put here, not at the end of the queue, at the beginning of the queue. So in the next iteration, it will be run first, and then the other callbacks or promises will run. What do you mean by setImmediate? So set iteration is similar to nextTick, but in this case it is put at the end of next iteration, and nextTick always run at the beginning of the next iteration. Let's check with an example. Let's print the statement next iteration but at the end of the queue. Why do you write QUEUE? Q is queue. You can simply omit this queue. Let me run it. Node app.ts. So here we can see that it is executed in this iteration, and nextTick was put for next iteration but at the beginning of the iteration. So you can see it was executed at the beginning of the next iteration, and this one executed at the end of the next iteration. Means for the next iteration, if there is some callback or promises, those will be executed first, and then setImmediate will be executed at the end. What is the difference between ReadFile and CreateReadStream? ReadFile loads the whole file in the memory and then transfer it to the client. But in CreateReadStream, the file is read in chunks and processed part by part until all the part finish. In CreateReadStream, the client receives the data faster. So if you want to read a file line by line, then in that case what we will do is like we will read the file and then we will split the file using a delimiter or a regex. So in this case what happens is like it will read the whole file and put it in the memory, and then it will split using, once the file is being read in synchronous way, because we need to wait for the file to get completed, and once it is done then we will split it using the delimiter depending on whatever the OS we are using. But if it is a huge file, then our server will crash because it will not be able to load that file and the output will be different. So the best way is to use CreateReadStream. So here we have a simple CreateReadStream which takes the first argument 90 and the last argument as 99. Means it will read only 10 bytes starting from 90 and ending with 99. Can you show me how to create a simple Node.js server? So in order to write a simple Node.js server, we need to import HTTP first. Then we will use http.createServer, which takes a function and has response. Sorry, it will be first request and then we had response. And we will listen to port 8002. So you need to make sure the port 8000 or 8002 or 8001 is not being used, and we will use localhost. So localhost will be 127.0.0.1. We will return the response with header 200, content type text or plain, or it may be JSON also, and response dot end will contain hello world. So let's check in a browser. Localhost /8002, it's not available. So we need to run node, then app.js. It's running. Now we can see that hello world is being displayed. What is forever in Node.js? So we have checked how to create the server and how to run it using node, then app.js. But suppose due to some exception, it got stopped and we need to log into the server again and rerun it. Instead of that, we can use forever. So npm install -g forever. So it's a simple CLI tool which ensures that the given scripts runs continuously. So it's installed. Let's run the server. Forever start app.js. So there was some error with forever. So what I did is like I uninstalled forever, and then I have installed the older version, which is forever is 1.0.0. If you want to see what are the older versions available, then you can go to forever npm repository, and in the versions you can check what are the versions available. So I had installed like which is a year back old. So I'll show you how it runs. So let me stop all the servers. It's not running. So if you want to run means this program forever, then in that case what you need to do is like forever start then app.js, and it will keep on running. If you want to check, then you can just go and here, and you can see it is running. Even if you stop and restart your machine, it will automatically start. And if you want to see what are all the services which are running, then you need to give forever list. It will show you only app.js is running. So how many times it has crashed, what is the PID. If you want to kill it, then you need to use this PID to kill this process. Let me stop all the servers. Forever stop all. Okay, stop all doesn't exist. Stop. Okay, so you need to give stop, then service name app.js. Why do we use Nodemon in Node.js? So Nodemon is basically used to monitor any changes in your Node.js application. So suppose you are writing and changing some file, so that file or that changes will be immediately available if we run using Nodemon. So let us install Nodemon first. To install it using -g globally. So it is installed. So what you will do is like we will run nodemon then app.js, and you can see the server is running on port 8002. 8002. If we restart it, hello world is printed, and what we will do is like hello stay home, stay safe. And this is for everyone including me. This pandemic is going on, so I wish everyone stay safe, so stay at home. So you can see that it automatically got restarted, and here stay home, stay safe is printed. So that's the functionality of Nodemon. It will keep a watch on what are the file changes you are making. What is PM2 is used for? So like forever, PM2 is also used to keep your application or your server up and running all the time, even if your machine got restarted or you or some exception happened and your server got crashed, so your application will be keep on running once your machine is up. And on the top of that, PM2 has load balancer inside it, so you can deploy your application or deploy your changes anytime without any downtime. So for PM2 also, we'll just give npm install PM2 and globally. So our PM2 got installed. So what we'll do is like we will run PM2, then start and app.js. We can see it has only one application inside that load balancer, or only one machine or one server inside that load balancer. And once you restart it, we can see that stay home, stay safe is being reflected. And if you want me to make more interview questions, then let me know by clicking yes here.